Hi everyone, welcome to the Incredible Hulk podcast, and this time we're chatting about the season 4 story called Wax Museum, um, which was written by Carol Baxter and directed by Dick Harwood. Starred, of course, the regular team of Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno, and Jack Colvin, and guest starring Christine Belford as Lee Gamble, Max Showalter as Walter Gamble, and Ben Hammer as Mr. Kellier. And joining me on this is none other than my cohorts here, my friends, Susan, Alex, and Graham. Welcome to you all.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Good to be here, Frank, as always.
Hello, yeah.
Hello.
Hello there. Right, who would like to kick off? Sue, would you like to kick off the proceedings for this particular episode?
Sure. In this episode, David Beckwith is his name this time. He's hanging out at a wax museum. He got a job working for a wax museum, and there's a lady there who is running it and is the chief artist of these wax figures, and there are some famous ones, and then she's working on some secret stuff, and she employs David to help out with things, and she provides him a room which isn't very elaborate, kind of like right next to her studio anyway. And she sets about to produce some works and stuff, but she has been struggling with a lot of quote-unquote mental illness, and David is noticing that instead of getting better when she takes the medication, she seems to get ever so much more worser. And so, that's bad grammar, but that's just the way it goes. Because when she's taking the medication, things are not as they would seem and stuff. So it's just a dangerous sort of situation for her to be in. Anyway, so her uncle is the main business manager, and he has to he takes her to takes her work, quote unquote, to a meeting, but it isn't really her work. It's just these scratch papers that she's drawn on. So her uncle is kind of, he's noticing that things are whacked anyway. So that's the beginning part, and what's going on with this, in your opinion, Graham and Alex?
Well, how do you follow that? You've basically described the crux of the story, Sue. The only difference being is her uncle is her trustee, a benefactor. And what you tend to find is that as the story unfolds, as you've alluded to, the pill that she's taken, they are actually 90% sugar and 10% LSD. And these are contributing to her psychedelic state. You then begin to realise that the uncle isn't always what he appears. And he's only after the money that can be obtained by buying out the museum that was run by her father, his late brother, and he is contributing to her fragile state of mind. David, of course, notices this during his tenure while working there. And what's interesting about this story is it's a very small, tight-knit cast. I think you've got, other than the four or five cast members that Frank alluded to at the start of this cast, you have one more character in the show, and that's the fella who McGee interrogated outside dealing with the the newspapers who folk called him to inform him about the Hulk. So, no, what a characters in this story, but a very nicely told one, and a tight-knitted one at that.
So, Alex, do you want to tell him about when she was getting the medication? When they were getting the medication tested? Oh wait, Grandma already said that.
Yeah, Grandma already said that. I mean, obviously the budget has gone out of this episode. They tried. Maybe if they could have gotten another 20,000, it probably would have looked a lot better. But they did try a lot of stuff with the camera to try to, give the sort of, I don't know what you call it, trips or whatever.
Trippy state.
Yeah, that she's having, sort of this hallucinatory state. Unfortunately, the uncle or brother, whoever he was effective for about 3 times. And then after that, after like the 4th time that he was speaking, even I was like, oh, God, he should be twirling a mustache the way that he's acting. It sort of took out the subtlety of it. The other thing was, I'm kind of surprised that David wasn't hurt. I mean, he should have been really hurt, badly burned. But again, it is fiction, but still. And then not only that, but the Hulk is running down lighted hallways. So it's kind of like, okay, so on the one hand, we have a sort of a modern take on Hitchcock a little bit, and we have these visual camera tricks. But on the other hand, the transformation is very fast and it doesn't make sense before and after. So it's a little strange. I think it's too bad they couldn't have really, really worked on it and really made it scary. It's weird. It is unsettling a little bit, but I wouldn't say that it was scary except for maybe 5 shots, and that's only because you hope that someone doesn't have a VCR that they could have seen this before.
Well,
yeah, and it might have been. Yeah, it might have. Sorry, Graham. It might have been trippier if it had like a really bad broadcast or whatever, or if the news had interrupted it or whatever. Maybe that would have helped a little bit as well. But it is a nice try. It's just not a great. The trying to balance all that. You can see what they were trying to do. It just didn't quite work. Almost.
Well, I don't think they were going for a jump scare or anything. I think it was more psychological on the mind, which was through the eyes of Lee. But, I mean, like any other TV series, this is probably one of the cheaper ones of the season. The budget probably went elsewhere within season 4. And this is one to get another one out for broadcast. So, still not a bad outing.
So, can I tell about the first Hulk out?
If you like.
Okay, so she's pouring the wax from the big kettle, and she can't get the handle switched back on the valve, and so David comes into the room. She screams for him because she got hot wax on her hand, a lot of it, and then she calls David. David runs into the room. He tries to stop the thing, and the thing comes off in his hand, and it's been anyway. It comes off in his hand, and the stuff pours all over his legs and his body, and like Alex had said, and he is, it looks like it's burning him, but then, he's trying to lay there and be quiet, but then all of a sudden he hulks out, and because his pant leg starts on fire.
Well, no, that was the second Hulk out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. What was interesting was that both the Hulk outs in this episode were caused by burning. Now, normally it's 2 different scenarios per episode, but this time it was the exact same type of thing.
True.
So I found that interesting. You've obviously got the obligatory last 10-minute, 15-minute, entrance of, Mr. McGee and his ever-ending quest to, for the Inquirer to finally hand over that reward for information about the Hulk, and he ends up, somewhat intimidating the poor schizophrenic patient that is, poor Lee, because he's unaware of her medical and her fragile state of mind. But what I did like, though, was, pure mind manipulation when it came to the uncle. It's all money, motivated and driven. David done well to piece the bits of the puzzle together to say, oh, hang on, this guy isn't how he appears. Albeit, as Alex alluded to, there were instances where he was like the mustache twirling villain. But, you can't have everything. As I say, you only had about 5 cast members in this whole thing, so to hold together a 42-minute story, not bad.
Yep. And
can I just jump in here, guys? Sorry.
Yeah, go for it, Frankie.
I just thought of a couple of things that happened. Well, one was just like a tidbit for people that might not be aware of
production notes.
The writer of this episode, but the writer of this episode, Carol Baxter, was an actress, and the rare occasion where they actually let a Hulk actor write a script for the series, because she appeared in 2 episodes of the Hulk. One was Prometheus, and she was the paleontologist girl that came in, was called in, and she was also a starring role in an episode called Haunted as well. And then she had this chance to write a script. So I thought it was nice that they embrace that sometimes and let people flex their muscles and come in and write a script, and also sometimes have some of the actors direct episodes like Jack Colvin did as well, and things like that. So it was nice that they were open to those ideas, I don't know if that again helped with the budget, because they were already on the books. Perhaps they had a couple of zeros to the paycheck that day. You never know, but that's a fair point, Frank. Yeah. Oh, and also must mention that there were 2. I remember in this earlier on, before the Hulk out, or possibly I think it was the first Hulk out. Yeah. Lee, the girl in it, made a waxwork of David.
Yes.
Which of course worried him sick, because she said thousands of people will be able to see you, when they come in.
And it looked just like him. She did a brilliant job.
Whoa.
I mean, it looked almost lifelike, didn't it?
Yeah. That was an immediate red flag from him. It's like, oh,
I was wondering, when's he going to blink?
Yeah. I have to get this sorted. How did you sort it? He makes him a pirate. Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
Arr, matey.
That's the way.
And then when she was done with the pirate, she turned and she seen the Hulk. She made another one of the Hulk really fast and very cool.
Old Hulk, yeah. He had no hair.
Yeah, bald Hulk. Yeah. But, the whole backstory of Lee, whereby her father perished in this supposed fire, and she thought she was to blame, and you get to the resolution of the episode, and of course you find out it was the uncle, again, all money-driven, all money-orientated. She's inherited the same gifts as her father in terms of making these waxworks, lifelike statues and masks. So he was trying to ride the gravy train. And when the museum didn't pan out, he wanted the money after. Was it an entertainment company trying to buy the museum? I believe it was an entertainment group. But
yeah, that was right.
Yeah. So it's all about the money. Sorry, Uncle Walter. No dice.
I noticed right from the beginning that actor that played the uncle looked like a right dodgy bastard from the offset to me.
Well, you know what? He did.
He was a really creepy character, wasn't he?
He did, but his vocals reminded me, oh crap, what was his name? There was another actor who spoke almost like that, as if he was speaking through, like the old voice boxes from back in the day. And I'm trying to remember his name. It's left me. I'll probably have to look it up, but
and his uncle looked a lot like her uncle, looked a lot like her father. And when that 2-part piece or 3-part piece was revealed, the one on the left is her father, the one on the right is her father, and the one in the middle is her, and one is pulling at her, and one is reaching up and stuff, and so it was just it was really sort of a revelatory piece, like this is what's going on with her, is that she's being ripped in half by guilt and stuff from what she thought she killed her father.
Yep. Yeah, drive it to the nut house so I can claim the profits. It's a simple story. There's no much in between, points A, B to C, but it's effectively done.
And once you find out it's LSD, it could cause you to flash back.
Well, there you go.
I was thinking of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah. If you start singing Yellow Submarine, I'm leaving. But yeah.
With green Hulks, green submarines, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The pink elephants. She saw green giants, so she couldn't have seen anything at that point.
There you go. Yeah. Coincidentally, the LSD trip was a good cover for the Hulk this time round when it came to Lee. But,
especially for the Hulk now, as you said, that when she saw it full on, it could be blamed on her hallucinating, which is not the case, of course, but that's what it was, conveniently blamed on.
But McGee was there, so I mean, what?
Yeah, McGee came in later on because he was questioning that fellow you mentioned earlier on.
And then he was saved by the Hulk the second time.
Yeah, but he didn't know it. He actually thought he saved her at the end, and as a result of which, he got a lifetime pass to the Wax Museum. He looked really enthralled by that, by the way, but there you go.
Yeah, he did. He looked really chuffed, didn't he?
So, yeah.
I don't think he'll pay a return visit there.
Not anytime soon, no.
Yeah. But, I think probably because that the actor was fairly old, the guy that played the uncle, the Hulk couldn't throw him around too heavily. He only gives him a little throw onto a soft mattress or something,
That's true, yeah. Fair play. Fair play indeed. Who was the actor that played the uncle again? Sorry, what was his name?
Max Showalter.
Max Showalter.
Yeah.
He played a good role in this, I must admit. He done a good job.
He had that kind of quiet creepiness to him, didn't he? He was really, it was just, it depends how you look at it. Whether he wasn't chewing the scenery type villain, was he? He was just
not really.
Rawr!
No, I mean, I'm making fun of it a little bit. I mean, like I said, by the fourth time he's talking, it is a little weird. But I mean, he's not really mustache twirling, but at the same point, you don't see a lot of range. It's just not laughably bad in terms of playing a villain. But at the same point, he's not showing too much range. He did when he said, "Oh, I'm worried about you," or whatever, but I think he actually didn't go, far enough to show more concern than I would have. I don't know. I don't know if they were saying, well, pretend you have a headache or pretend you're wearing a straitjacket, or I don't know. It was like a weird, it was a little weird. It was like if he had shown a little bit more energy, especially on the dialogue, even if he didn't mean it, saying, I care about you, I think I would have believed him more.
And finally...
Before we get started, please review these items.
Apologies for that. Don't know what the hell that was. Shut it, Bixby.
Not on the QVC channel again, were you?
Yeah, I know. I need to stop buying stuff. I'm a shopaholic. But now that I've recalled it, the actor who had the similar type vocals that the fellow that played the uncle was, it was Harvey Feinstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's as if he's talking from at the back of his throat, or somewhat feminine, but all husky and rough. It's quite uncanny. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. I can see that a little bit. Yep.
But a good performance by the actress who played the Lee, especially when she was going absolutely doolally towards the end, before the uncle set the place ablaze.
Oh yeah, when she was in hysterics crying, she did that really well. That was quite strong.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
It was. Yeah. She did hysterical acting really good. She was also, incidentally, in another Hulk's episode called Wildfire about the oil rig thing. She was Banner's little love interest in that for a while. I can't remember what season that was. I think that might have even been season 4 as well. Anyway, yeah, she was in that too. Yeah.
There you go. They keep coming back for more. I wonder. This originally aired, was it NBC? Or CBS? What was this originally? What did this originally air on, guys?
CBS.
CBS. I wonder if they had a stable of actors exclusive to that network, and that's why you get a lot of recycling in certain shows back then.
Yeah, back then, yeah, it was the producers probably would suggest somebody, and then the network would, if they objected, then there would be a real, problem. But yeah, that's usually, and you also saw, because this was the 70s, you saw the same actors. I mean, it wasn't until the 90s that they finally started saying, we can't use the same actors, 20 times a year, et cetera, et cetera.
No. They let them. Once the 90s, they could move about networks basically.
Yeah. So because also just like the old days, if you signed with a big movie studio, you kind of had to do, what they told you to do. So So in many cases, the film stars lost money because they couldn't go to other, cinemas or whatever. Projects. They couldn't go to other studios. So, like I said, it's not a bad episode. I just think it probably needed a little bit more budget and a little bit more contrast. But I mean, it's not a bad episode. And as I said, they're trying to do it a little bit like a horror movie with Hitchcock. I think more of a is she crazy? Is she not? Then you find out it's the pills. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. Interesting subplot, the pills, but there we go. Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
and apparently, there's a couple of the wax figures that are actually actors that are moving a bit. I just found this thing about that on a website. It was hilarious, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we don't really know how much money they really had to have a lot of wax figures, and they're still kind of expensive even in this modern technology. So we don't know how expensive it was back then.
Frank, you have something else, sir?
It looked, you could see at this point, I think, certainly from the set dressing and production there, that they were a little bit out of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can see it's fairly sparing on sort of the set design, isn't it? A bit, and all that.
I think this was what's known in today's terms as the cost-cutting episode of the season.
But the interesting way they write that in, they actually write that into the story and saying, they're preparing to open in 3.5 weeks, so things aren't all like built yet and that, Yeah. So it's an easy sort of a way around getting away with that,
Claustrophobic, in other words. They don't have 3 sets, so you have to be stuck in one.
Why not?
And the other thing that was interesting about this was the cop, or I'm sorry, not the cop. The news vendor was intimidated by.
Yeah. Okay.
And also. The Hulk spoke, and that was fun.
Actually, I don't remember that.
Part of the whole.
Yeah, I read that, Sue. Yeah, he actually said her name, doesn't he? He said Lee.
Yeah, it's part of the hallucination.
It was part of the hallucination. It didn't happen. It was part of the trip out thing. It's a flashback thing when she remembers him changing.
Yeah.
and it shows the Hulk like growling, but then they overdubbed it. You can even go "Riley" like that or something.
Yeah, okay.
Very
Oh,
brief, very brief.
yeah,
Yeah,
so it was like a second or something. Yeah,
Yeah, not very long.
I
it's
know.
difficult. It's difficult to catch it. Actually, you have to listen quite carefully to it. It's so brief, you know.
That was the other thing. I was making fun of it a little bit with the wax Hulk wax figure. That I said, "Oh, you forgot the hair." But I mean,
Yeah,
again,
he was bald Hulk. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, again, this is the other problem is the fact that, we're reviewing it in 2019 and it was probably made in 1979. I mean, the technology is so good now compared to back then that you kind of forget that, unless they had $2 million saved up, it's not going to be as good as what they can do, with a computer for 5,000 or less. You know what I mean? But they were trying. I mean, you know what I mean? But it's just we've gotten so spoiled with the technology now.
But it was
there
very
was one little
trippy.
trippy bit I quite liked, where in the early part of it, if I remember, when she's having an hallucination. I think it's before she meets David in the early part, and there's she's doing her work in her room, and there's these figures behind, like covered in plastic.
Oh, that when the head started
bags, and then they start advancing on her. That was pretty creepy, I thought.
Oh yeah, the plastic bags. Yeah. Interesting stuff. This it depends how you interpret it, but it's not a bad. Might not be for everybody, but it's it's a 3 or 4 hander in a tight net space. So yeah, if you're claustrophobic, you might want to stick your head out the window.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it worked well because there was less people in it. Obviously, it was that kind of style, wasn't it? Small cast, it worked better. It gave people more time to breathe and act, and do stuff.
For the limited role that he had, even the fellow who played the bank manager, Mr. Was it Gallagher or Gallagher, whatever his name was, but he done his bit well. He was even willing to listen at one point until the dodgy sketches get whipped out. So
yeah, which the dodgy uncle swapped them.
Yes.
Unscrupulous character. Yeah. Yeah. But he was good, that actor. Do you guys know him from anything else? I'm sure he must have been like a real old veteran actor by that point, I think.
He looked familiar, to be fair, but I just couldn't place him in anything.
Let's see. Here we go. Sometimes he was known as Casey Adams.
Oh, he did different aliases. All right, okay.
So he was also in the pilot of Leave It to Beaver, but they changed it. He died in 2000.
Oh, all right.
He was active from 1935 to 1984.
Oh, that's about 5 years later. He called it a day. Okay, well, there you go.
So let's see here. So they changed his name from the 40s, and then he did a lot of stuff in the 50s. He did a lot of he did like the Loretta Young show and Vicky and Naked Alibi.
Is there anything?
Yeah.
Right.
He was in Elmer Gantry from the 60s, Music Man, How to Murder Your Wife.
I thought there might have been something late 70s, early 80s that other listeners might have recognized.
What else here? Yeah, he was in a lot of movies, but he actually wasn't credited. Even though he had lines, he wasn't credited.
Yeah, as still get paid.
He was in the Anderson tapes.
Right, hang on. We don't need the full movie rundown. Just TV, but that's fine, mate. No problem.
I'm actually surprised that he didn't turn up in Columbo, because he looks the type that could be a good villain.
Yeah, everybody was in Columbo. Crap.
It's not listed, but he should have been, because he was in Kojak, he was in Bob Newhart's show, he was in Quincy.
Quincy, there you go.
Quincy, that's it. That's one that people will probably remember.
He was in the Love Boat in the mid '80s before they finally.
Oh wow, I should remember him, but I don't. But anyway,
we get to kick him after Ponderosa. Excellent. Yeah.
I really love Love Boat.
A lot of Hulk actors have popped up in Love Boat, even Bill Bixby. I think.
That's true.
Yeah. Let's see. He was in Police Story, but that's kind of a cult show. But if you didn't have Police Story, you wouldn't have Police Woman. What else? Doris. He was in Doris Day's show. So
Oh, well, rip crack away.
Yeah, 69.
If you like.
Yeah, 1969.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was basically a 50, 60 actor. And then I guess in the 70s, they wanted him to play the villain.
Why not? There you go.
So.
Which he did pretty well. I mean, based on that episode anyway, at least, I think I can see why he would be picked for that kind of role. Because he has that quiet kind of menace to him,
I have a softly spoken voice, but I would kill you in the background.
Yes, that's it. That always that low, silky tones, but underneath is an animal.
By the time the 80s came along, they were all shouting and pounding their fists on the computers like Dr. Claw, so no wonder they had to retire, but there you go.
Yeah, he was more probably active in the 50s and 60s as an actor.
Yeah, that's why it sounds like it.
Yeah. And then the roles probably might have tailed off a bit after that.
It sounds like he retired of his own accord in 84, so...
Yeah.
And he's had another good 16 years. I'm assuming he enjoyed his retirement, so...
I guess he did, yeah. Because he was happy that way, some are, they just turn their back on the business and think, I've done my bit and that's it,
There you
go off to do different things. Some of them go off to do become acting teachers and things like that. That's quite
true.
common as well.
Quite a few do that, yeah.
Or do directing jobs or things like that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah.
For hallucinating this with us.
I
don't know. I actually don't know if I'm here or not. I think I'm having an out-of-body experience.
Well,
yeah.
Just
check the little capsules that you're taking for hallucinatory drugs.
I might be overdosing on something. Yeah.
Remember, take your vitamins, brother. Yeah.
I've got to be careful, man. I've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Too many tablets. I'm rattling. I'm like a bloody pharmacist. Yeah.
See no to drugs.
Pharmacy. I mean. Yeah. Oh dear.
Good bummer.
Yeah. So that was Wax. That was Wax Museum,
Indeed.
And it was a Series 4 story, of course. And season 4. Some of it could be a bit uneven.
Indeed.
There were a few clonkers in there, but this one, was
somewhere in the middle,
above average episode.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it was still enjoyable, wasn't it?
Yes. 40 minutes, you can't grumble.
Yeah. So thank you guys for kind of like holding the fort on this one a bit more than usual.
No problem.
Anytime.
Technicalities prevented me from being able to enjoy the whole episode, from start to finish without hiccups. A bloody screen.
The internet, yeah.
So I picked up on bits of it, but and then and I kind of remembered things from watching it some time back, as well. So it kind of jogged the memory a bit. But thanks very much for doing that, and and thank you guys all, of course, for listening. And so thank you, Graham. Thank you, Sue, and thank you, Alex, for
always a pleasure, mate.
Yeah,
been great. And thanks, guys, for listening. And we will be back soon for another Incredible Hulk podcast. And, of course, with these immortal words, don't Hulk out.
Rawr.
Brother.
Rawr.